All right, let's dive right into a huge shift in how we build things today. We're talking about moving from the good old days of managing your own servers to embracing the world of service-driven architectures, specifically in AWS. If you're used to thinking about the physical box, let's talk about what happens when that box, well, pretty much disappears.
Okay, so I've been a developer for a while now, and my world has always revolved around the server. Managing the application, tweaking the database, controlling the whole stack. So it's kind of hard to wrap my head around an environment where I don't even have a server to log into. How does that even work?
That's the perfect place to start, and it's the single biggest mental shift you have to make. Stop thinking of AWS as just someone else's computer that you're renting. Instead, think of it as this massive catalog of specialized, ready-to-go services. You're not renting a machine, you're using a whole suite of powerful tools.
And I mean, just look at this list. The catalog is enormous. Of course, you've got the basics covered: compute for running your code, storage for your files, but the real magic is in all the other specialized services. Why build a whole analytics engine from the ground up when you can just use an analytics service? Why configure a bunch of servers for your mobile app's backend when there's a dedicated mobile service waiting for you? This isn't just a list of features, it's a list of problems you don't have to solve yourself anymore.
That makes total sense. It's like walking into a giant workshop that has every tool you could ever dream of. But how do you go from having all those separate tools to actually building a single working application? How do you piece it all together?
Exactly. And you do that by following a design pattern called service-oriented architecture, or SOA for short. The big idea here is that instead of building one giant, clunky program, a monolith, you build your application as a collection of smaller, independent services that all talk to each other. This is really the foundation for what we now often call microservices.
And what's so cool about this comparison is how it shows the real change in a developer's job. In the old client-server model, you were constantly worried about the physical server. Is it on? Is it patched? But in the service-oriented model, your job completely shifts. You stop being a server manager and you become more like an architect or a conductor, picking and choosing these services and making them work together in harmony.
So the application itself is really a mashup of all these different services. Got it. But that brings up a really important question. If all the parts are separate, how do they communicate? How does one service ask another service to do something for it?
Well, it follows a really standard logical flow that's actually powering most of the internet. First, one application or service creates a request. Simple enough. Second, that request gets neatly packaged up with all the necessary info, like who you are, your security credentials. And third, you send it off using a super common standard like REST, which is the same technology behind almost every web API you've ever used. It's just create, package, and send.
Okay, the theory is clicking, but I'm a hands-on kind of person. Can we just walk through a real-world example? Show me what it looks like to do a really basic, common task using one of these services.
Absolutely. Let's do one of the most common tasks, creating a place to store files, which in Amazon S3 is called a bucket. You literally just go to the S3 service in the AWS console. You give your bucket a unique name, you pick a physical location for it, say somewhere in the US, and then you click Create. That's it. Boom. The S3 service takes care of all the complicated stuff behind the scenes to make that storage available to you.
Wow. Okay, that's way easier than setting up a new file server from scratch. So if we boil this whole thing down, what's the single most important thing for a developer like me to really get about this shift? What's the big takeaway?
It's this. Your value is no longer in racking servers or patching operating systems. Your focus moves up the stack, as they say. You get to spend way more of your time on the fun stuff, writing the code that's unique to your business, and figuring out clever ways to connect all these powerful, pre-built services to make something awesome.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. The ultimate benefit is speed. It's all about moving faster. When you let AWS handle all the underlying plumbing, you get to focus on what you're best at, writing code that solves real problems. Your whole process just becomes so much faster.
And that's our look at service-driven architectures. If you found this useful, do us a favor and hit that like button, share with a friend, and of course, subscribe for more deep dives just like this one.
So it really leaves you with one big, exciting question to think about. When all that heavy lifting of managing infrastructure is done for you, and you have this incredible toolkit of services just waiting, the only real limit is your imagination. So, what will you build?